Welcome to part one of AWS Solution Architect Professional. We will look at some questions today. This is the latest content which we are preparing in March 31st, 2025. So all these questions are latest ones. There are 1,000+ videos on this channel on certifications. So please, if you're serious with AWS, Azure and Google Cloud certification, this is going to help you, this channel. So let us look at this question. You have a EBS volume. This is your EBS volume, and you have some data. So you have to protect that data. So this some data is there. You have got to protect it. And which of these options will allow you to protect? Protect means you just encrypt it. See, there are two types of encryption in transit. That means when the data is moving across network and then at rest. That means when data is already sitting in the database, it is taking a rest, then it should be encrypted. Here we are only looking for at rest, not for transit. Simple. So the requirement is it should be encrypted when it's stored on the disk, not just during transmission. In this case, A is saying we will implement third-party volume encryption tools. So this is valid. You can use it. You can encrypt the entire volume or specific file folders on the volume. Second one says we will use SSL TLS. This is for encryption in motion, not at rest. Third says encrypt data inside your applications before storing on AWS. So encrypting data at application level ensures that even if the volume is not encrypted, the data is still protected. So this is a good way. This is correct. D says we will encrypt the data using native data encryption drivers at the file system. So this is valid. Many operating systems they offer native encryption. So you can use this also. Okay. Now he says don't do anything. EBS encrypts by default. No, EBS does not encrypt data by default. Okay. So A, C, and D. We have to choose three answers. These three are correct. See, there is a customer. They are deploying SSL enabled web application to AWS. They want to implement separation of roles between EC2 service administrators. What can those administrators do? They can log in to instances and they can also make API calls. And the security officers who will maintain will have exclusive access to this application certificate. This certificate contains private key. Okay. So if it is confusing, we have put it here, the requirement. Separation of roles. Separation of roles between whom? Between whom? There are two roles, two guys here. EC2 service administrators and security officers. There are two different people. So they should have two different types of roles. Second is secure certificate management. So only authorized security officers should get access to this. Not just all security officers, but only authorized security officers should be able to access this. So A is telling, boss, we will upload the certificate on S3 bucket. Okay. And this bucket will be owned by security officers, all security officers. And these will be accessible only by EC2 role of the web server, EC2 role. The problem is this, the private key to EC2, it is exposed. to all security officers. We are clearly saying only exclusive access for security officers. This will not work. B says, let us configure web servers to retrieve certificate upon boot. So whenever a boot up happens, they will retrieve the certificate. But where will the certificate kept? It will be cloud HSM is used. So to retrieve the certificate upon boot from cloud HSM. This is very strong. It is a dedicated hardware security model. HSM means hardware security model. So private keys, if you keep it there, and these will be managed by the security officers, the web servers can retrieve this certificate from HSM and without directly accessing private key material. So this is secure. See, nobody stores certificate in S3 buckets. S3 buckets, that is not the place to store certificates. C says, let us configure system permissions on web servers to restrict access to the certificate only to authorized authority security officers. Okay, so okay, restricting access on EC2, it places the private key on EC2 file system. It is less secure than XSM. We want very secure option. So you are going to place this on EC2 file system. So if some bad player gains access to your server, they can see the key also. As simple as this. It is like if someone gains access to your home, they can get into your bathroom also. If you are taking shower, they can see you. That is not good, right? The key should not be exposed. So option D, they say configure IAM policies authorizing access to certificate store only to security officers and terminate SSL on ELB. See, terminating SSL on ELB means private key is stored on ELB, not directly on EC2. See, using IAM policies, you can restrict this access, but it is not fully meeting the separation of roles requirement. Our best answer would be option B in this case because you get top-notch security through hardware security. There is a separation of role and you get secured access and compliance cloud HSM meets stringent compliance requirements for sensitive data. So this is our final answer. Now let us look at the next question. It's a very big question. So let me break this for you. This is the breakup of the requirements. You need to support 100,000 sensors. In India, we call it 1 lakh sensors. In pilot, you had 100 sensors. When you were doing a pilot, because pilot we do with very small number of sensors, so they did it with 100 sensors. Now they are increasing it to 100K. And then you should store the data for last 2 years. It is not weeks or months, but 2 years of data you should store. So imagine so much of data will be there for 100K sensors. Now this system should handle the increased data ingestion and query load. See, lot of data is coming. So performance should not be compromised and the solution should be scalable. Scalable means if today you can do 2 hours work, tomorrow we require you to do 4 hour work, you should be able to do. And then we say in a week you should do 40 hour work, you should be able to do. Then we say 50 hour work, you should be able to do. Narayan Murthy says 70 hours of work, you should be able to do. And Larsen Tubro CEO says 90 hours of work you should be able to do. That is called scale up, scale down, I mean scalability. So A says let's add a SQS queue to the ingestion layer to buffer writes to RDS instance. Okay, so some car alarm went off. Uh, See, the problem is SQS. See, SQS is this is not a problem. See, SQS is very good at decoupling, no doubt. Okay, but when we talk about scalability, uh, that is RDS is not meant for scalability of this nature. First of all, real time 100K sensors would give the data. So RDS is not meant for handling such kind of scalability. DynamoDB is meant for this. So we are telling you create two databases. Okay, you have two databases. One is DynamoDB, the other is Redshift. Simple. You get your real-time data to DynamoDB and move the old data. Say old data for 2 years you want to keep, right? 2 years, 2 years you want to keep. Keep it in Redshift. You keep it in Redshift. The architecture would be a bit complex, but it meets the requirement very well. See, C is saying let us replace RDS with Redshift 6 node. So that means, boss, it will be very highly scalable, etc. See, Redshift is for analytical queries. Did anybody tell you that you want analytical queries? They are clearly telling, I want high volume write workloads. I want to write so many things. So RDS is not meant for high volume writes through real time data coming through sensors, and it will be expensive solution. Okay, DynamoDB is meant for that. If you want to go for a Formula One race, take a Ferrari. Okay, take a Formula One race cars. Don't take any boutique cars like Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla or Mazda. Okay, don't take those cars. Don't take mud cars also. Don't take Range Rover also. Take sports one. So this will not work. This will not work. So D says let us keep the current architecture. We don't change the architecture, but let us upgrade RDS storage to 3 terabytes and 10K provisioned IO. So what they are doing in general, see, you are only able to do 45 hours of work in a week. Okay, in my organization it is 45 hours. So, but Narayan Murthy is telling you to do 70 hours. So how we can make it possible? We will give you more storage more, so that you can absorb more. Plus, we will give you more IOPS. That means you can read and write faster. We will give you more IOPS so that data to your brain will go faster. Data from your brain will go out faster. Data coming into your brain will be also faster. So that way you can work 70 hours. Okay. See, 70 hours working efficiently. If you didn't have Bonvita, Complan in your childhood, you cannot work with same efficiency. So simple is we are clearly saying RDS is not designed for this extreme level of scalability. This will, even if you increase the IOPS, it will become a bottleneck. So ultimately you are a human being, you cannot work 70 hours. So what you have to do, you have to get a robot or a generative AI, lot of stuff are saying. So people who say that you should work 70 hours, 90 hours, they are stupid people. Stupid. Stupid. I reply. Repeat. Stupid. Why? Because today is a generative AI world. People are trying to automate everything. You will struggle to work even 40 hours a week. That's why some people would be laid off. You will not get the opportunity to work 70 hours and 90 hours. Senior citizens will keep blabbering about hard work, etc. This age is not about hard work. Using AI, you have to work faster, high productivity. So B is our answer. Ingest data into DynamoDB. See, DynamoDB very good for such kind of requirements. Lots of data coming from sensors. You get it into DynamoDB first, and since you have to keep the data for 2 years, so that part, the old data, you move it to Redshift cluster. It can keep the data for 2 years. That will work because that data you can use for analysis later. So subscribe, boss. Subscribe. If you are serious about certification, 1,000+ videos on what? On AWS, Azure, GCP, and Cloud Kernel. Take this membership for a very small premium. You will gain access to extra questions, lots of important questions. These will elevate your chances of clearing the certification. This certification is a complex one. It is a professional certification. It is a complex one. So it will be difficult to clear. But if you clear this certification, you will command a lot of respect in your organization, as well as if you work for a client, they will also respect you. And if you are switching jobs, switching employers, there also this will be very handy. Only if you are conceptually great, and that will allow you to work also properly. See you in the next part.